Today, state police shut down part of I-75 while investigating a fatal crash from earlier this month.
Hundreds of people packing a Central Kentucky church today to say goodbye to a fallen Central Kentucky paramedic. How the community is reaching out to his family.
A former employee of a state cabinet claims her coworkers were running side businesses during company time, and that when she reported it, the leaders at that cabinet fired her.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
And good evening. We'll get to those stories in just a minute, but we continue to track breaking news out of Paris, France tonight. Police in Paris now say at least 35 to 40 people are dead after a shooting and explosions around the city.
The mass shooting was reported at a restaurant, and the explosion was reportedly at a bar near a soccer stadium. Police also say at least 100 people are being held hostage at a theater in Paris. We'll continue to track this investigation, and we'll bring you more details as they become available on WKYT News at 6.
All of this happening, news coming just in the last 30 minutes or so.
Changing.
So breaking news. Now to our top story here back in Kentucky. State police trying to learn more about a crash that killed a Central Kentucky man earlier this month. That crash happened on November 1st in the southbound lanes of Interstate 75 near mile marker 47 in Laurel County. Troopers say 46-year-old Pavel Zherko's semi was rear-ended, and when he got out of his truck, he was hit by another car. Today, troopers closed down all 3 lanes of I-75 where the crash happened to reconstruct the accident. Victor Puente is tracking the investigation in our top story at 5:30.
The crash state police were investigating this morning killed a Nicholasville semi-truck driver. They shut down the southbound lanes of Interstate 75 while they took their measurements. That crash happened November 1st when 46-year-old Pavel Zherko's semi was rear-ended by a driver from Livingston. State police say Zherko pulled over to check on that driver, and when he got out of his semi, a man from Florida struck the car that hit him, then struck Zherko. All 3 drivers were taken to various hospitals. Zherko did not survive his injuries. Police tell me they always do an accident reconstruction on fatal crashes, but weren't able to that night.
A big issue with us out here working is officer safety. If we had vehicles coming up the interstate, then it could endanger us and them.
This morning they were back at the scene. The interstate was closed while they did their work. The reconstruction was set up near mile marker 47 of the southbound lanes. Their equipment allows them to create a 3D model of the collision scene to use in their investigation. So far, no one faces any charges in the crash, but blood work on everyone involved is pending.
It'll depend on what the evidence reveals once the investigation's complete.
At first, state police thought that accident reconstruction would take around 3 hours, but they were able to get it done in a little under 2. The interstate reopened around 1 o'clock. In Laurel County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
After the crash, Zherko's family started a GoFundMe page to help with their expenses. So far, they have raised more than $67,000.
A final farewell for a paramedic. Funeral services for Jessamine County paramedic John Mackey were held this afternoon. Mackey died Monday after he was hit by a car during an emergency run last week. Hundreds of people packed a Nicholasville church to say goodbye. And after the funeral, there was a short procession from the church to the funeral home where Mackey will be cremated. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, we'll show you how Mackey's co-workers honored him during today's service. John Mackey's family will get help from a Lexington company. Friends say that Mackey had been working on his home's heating system before winter, but he wasn't able to finish those repairs. And now a business is stepping in to help. Jennifer Palumbo's at the live desk to tell us about an act of kindness. Jennifer?
Sam, when Brett Melrose saw our story that the Mackey's home did not have a working heater, the owner of Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning wanted to do something to help. So on Monday, a crew from Fayette Heating and Air will go to the Mackey's home in Jessamine County and install a new heating system for free. Brett Melrose talked to John Mackey's father.
It's just something that we can do. This is what we do every day, and it's just something that we can give back to the community. And I can't imagine losing a child and losing, even though he was a grown man and had his own family, it's just very, very tough.
John Mackey's friends created a Facebook page called Many Hands of the Mackeys to let people know about the family's needs. The 40-year-old Mackey is survived by a wife and 3 children. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
What a great gesture for that family and for Fayette Heating and Air. There's also a GoFundMe page that's already raised more than $13,000 for John Mackey's family.
Lexington police are looking for the people responsible for breaking into a church overnight. It happened at First Wesleyan Church in Lexington. Police tell us the thieves pushed in an air conditioner unit in the church's office and then crawled into the building. They say two people ransacked, were told that change jars and possibly a video projector was then stolen.
We're tracking some quiet but chilly weather for your weekend. It is November after all. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has it all with this early look at the forecast. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Amber. Nice day that is wrapping up across the area. More importantly, it's a Friday that's wrapping up on a good note. That means full steam ahead into the weekend. Temperatures right now dropping already into the 40s, although those official numbers coming at the top of the hour still at 50 degrees or a little better. Mainly clear skies across the entire area. That wind flow continues to come in from the west and northwest as well around that big area of low pressure that is across parts of the Great Lakes now. That is a system that continues to bypass Kentucky with some rain and snow showers to the north of us. But if you're out and about this evening, here's what we're going to be dealing with. A quick drop in those thermometers into the mid-40s by 7 o'clock, and late evening temperatures, especially in those colder valleys, will drop into the mid and upper 30s, so do bundle up. We're taking a little look ahead toward a chilly weekend, seasonally chilly, although a good one out there. You'll have to bundle up from time to time. Ugly pattern takes shape into early next week. That will highlight or low light the 7-day forecast. All about your perspective when I come back in just a few minutes.
She says her former co-workers were using state time to run their online businesses.
In a lawsuit filed against the Public Protection Cabinet, Jacqueline Heyman says she was fired for reporting her co-workers. Kristen Kennedy is taking a look at the lawsuit. She tells us what Heyman claims her co-workers were doing in a story that's new at 5:30.
The lawsuit says Jacqueline Heyman started working here in April and that she found out about these side businesses being run during company time with company computers when another employee came to her to file a formal complaint. The lawsuit claims in August, Heyman reported her findings to her supervisor, stating 2 employees were operating Amazon.com online businesses during regular business hours and using unauthorized resources to facilitate same. In particular, plaintiffs specified that one of the employees identified in this conduct was further engaged in the sale of pure romance sex toys, sensual enhancement items, and premium lubricants as part of her online business. Internal investigations began. Heyman stated in the claim at the end of the month she received a notice of termination and wasn't given a reason for the firing. She is now claiming protection under the whistleblower statute, wants a trial by jury, and wants compensation for damages and attorney fees. Leaders at the cabinet told us they could not comment on this case. They are still reviewing it. In Frankfort, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Heyman worked for the Insurance Legal Division of the Public Protection Cabinet.
Tonight we have a story about an unusual scam that lured in tens of thousands of people. The con artist was a self-proclaimed psychic, and as you'll hear and see, the victims thought they were buying happiness.
You are worthy to get ahead, and you deserve to be happy. So if you sin...
If you could be guaranteed good fortune by purchasing one of these medallions for just $40, would you buy it? This woman, along with millions of other people, did, paying the Destiny Research Center and specifically psychic Maria Duvall.
You just hold on to it and you say this prayer every day, the same time, for 40 days, and you should have happiness.
The truth?
Very, very cheap mass-produced trinkets from China and Hong Kong. The purchase prices would be anywhere from 10 cents to $1.50 or less, and they were bought by the tens of thousands.
You are looking at 1 month's worth of envelopes from victims of this scam, more than 30,000 pieces of mail.
At about $40 a piece, that would be about $1.2 million that we have saved for the victims. Over the course of the year, that would be something in the neighborhood of $15 million.
The letters did have a small note on the side stating, "This solicitation is for promotional purposes only."
It was almost impossible for me to read, and the elderly victims who received these solicitations surely would have been unable to read it.
And most of the victims were elderly.
100,000 solicitations a week. It's hard to have a personal connection with 100,000 people each week. I think that surpasses any volume of Facebook friends you might have.
I'm embarrassed to say that I was taken by it because I know you can't get something for nothing. But the way they come at you and they get real personal with you, and you think, okay, maybe they do know something, and maybe I will kind of like take a chance.
Postal inspectors began investigating the case after thousands of complaints. They then filed an administrative action with the courts to stop Maria Duvall from sending this type of mail again.
Governor-elect Matt Bevin is transitioning into his new role, but he's at odds with Governor Steve Beshear over health care.
And the mayor of Richmond says the last week has been the most difficult week of his time in office. Our Bill Bryant sits down with the mayor in the bottom line.
Good evening. Governor-elect Matt Bevin and Governor Steve Beshear met this week. Both say the transition is moving along in an orderly way, but the issue of health care divides the outgoing and the incoming administration. Beshear continues to press the case that his executive order that expanded Medicaid and created the state health exchange Connect are paying off. He points out that about 500,000 Kentuckians have health care coverage who lacked it before. But Bevin campaigned on shutting down the state exchange and undoing the Medicaid expansion, saying Kentucky can't afford to have 25% of its citizens on Medicaid going forward. Richmond Mayor Jim Barnes says the last week has been the most difficult of his 5 years of holding that city's top elected position. Barnes says he is profoundly saddened by the death of police officer Daniel Ellis, but he also says he has been heartened by the outpouring of love for Ellis's family and the show of support for law enforcement.
But when tragedy hits like that, it hits home to you, and the pain of it, we're still going through it. But you know, the greatest thing that we as a community, I'm so proud of our community as to coming together.
Mayor Barnes talks about other issues facing Richmond and Central Kentucky on Kentucky Newsmakers, and the full interview runs Sunday morning at 6 on WKYT. It repeats Sunday at 10 a.m. on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR or catch it then. The Democratic presidential candidates will be debating this weekend. Frontrunner Hillary Clinton, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley will share the stage and the nationwide spotlight on CBS. That debate will be moderated by CBS's Face the Nation anchor John Dickerson and the network's Nancy Cordes. It will air tomorrow evening at 9. You can see it here on WKYT. Kentucky Republican Ryan Quarles is set to become the state's agriculture commissioner at 32. He'll be the youngest statewide office holder in America. Quarles has announced his transition team as he takes over from Commissioner James Comer, who, by the way, is now set to run for Congress. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
It's the giving season, and some students in Lexington are doing what they can to give back.
Students at the Sayre School are collecting 2,000 pairs of socks for the homeless community, and school leaders tell us they are close to their goal.
I think it is amazing to see how valuable these socks are to those in need. They spend a lot of time outside, a lot of time on their feet, and these socks are just a treasure for them.
Students are also collecting food for a Thanksgiving meal that will be served at Sayre. The socks will be handed out at that meal. The remaining socks will then be distributed to various organizations throughout the city.
Now.